Hey homies, welcome back. Today we're going to make some artist trading cards, also known as ATCs. I'm going to go to the Stamp and Scrap Expo this week, so I thought for my little info cards, why not make some ATCs to hand out? So I'm going to start with some backgrounds, and I'm going to use some Viva Las Vegas stamps. I'm going to use this chicken, this little buggy bug. I love this little buggy bug, and some of this background stuff. Let's get going. First, I'm just going to do some random inking all over this watercolor paper. I'm going to start with some Lost Shadow. This is regular distress ink. And we're just going to put some Lost Shadow all over and then throw some water at it and let it do what distress ink does. And then I'm going to go in with a little Kishlingo and add some of that, and then we'll throw the water at it. Okay, here we go. Water, water, water. And then let's blot. I think I need a little more right here. And blot. All right, I'm going to dry this with the heat tool, and then we'll move on to some stenciling. Alrighty, that's dry. Now I've got my hexagon stencil here, the smaller one. And I'm just going to add some, just kind of random bits of this. I'm not going to do the whole thing over the whole thing, but I would like to have a little. I'm going to add a little picked raspberry. For some bright craziness in here. And see, nice little kind of just overlay. So I'm going to move it over and continue on. And over here a little bit. I'm just going to use what's left on the brush. So there I've got a nice little background going. And I'm going to throw water at it again. Let that sit for just a sec and then blot. I'm going to go dry this, and then we're going to start stamping. So these are Viva Las Vegas Stamps. This is plate 1495. These are all kind of backgroundy things, which I love. And then there's a quote from Andy Warhol on here. Art is anything you can get away with, and I love it. So I'm going to use this one first. I'm going to stamp with Archival Flamingo, and I'm not even sure how much this is going to show up. But right now, I'm just kind of working on background noise. And we're just going to stamp this quite randomly. Oh, that shows up better than I thought it would. And this is truly meant to be in the background because if you look, the letters are actually backwards. So the letters don't really matter. And I'm going to stamp some of these just marks with the Lost Shadow. And that's so light that they're really going to stay in the background. And then some of these smaller ones I'll do in Picture Raspberry. They're kind of like stitches. And I'm going to pull in some black soot archival for these circles. Aren't those cool? I really like the circles a lot. And the last thing I'm going to do with this background before I set it aside to dry is we're going to add a little Lost Shadow spray stain. Some speckly bits. All right, let's set this aside to dry and work on some focal images. Okay, so the images I'm going to use are from plate 922. This chicken, I'm going to use him, use little bug man, and I may use her. I kind of like her, but I'm going to start with the chicken. So I've got Misty here. I've got the chicken. I need to take the mouse pad out because these are rubber. I've got some 110-pound Nina Solar White to stamp on because this is pretty thick paper, so it can take a little bit of a beating. And we're just going to stamp a couple of these. There we go. And I'm going to use the black soot archival. And I plan to watercolor these lightly with the Distress Inks. So let's stamp us a chicken. Oh, that stamped pretty well, didn't it? Okay. Do another one. Gonna do 4 chickens. Alrighty, so now I have 4 chickens. Turn this around. I'm gonna use the girl because I can fit her beside the chicken. Because I'm gonna cut all these images out. Again, still black soot archival. I haven't used her yet other than to stamp the index image. Oh, look at her. I store my stamps in Tim Holtz binders. However, the Viva Las Vegas sheets are so large that I have a separate binder for them. Otherwise, it would take like 4 pockets in the Tim Holtz binder. So I just have a large, regular pink 3-ring binder. And I use the Sunday International storage sheets. And it works out really, really well for me. All right, let's put a piece of paper back in and see what other image we can fit. I do like this little buggy guy with his little crown. I've used him on a card. I love him very, very much. I also like this bird. I could fit him that way. I haven't used this bird yet either, so maybe I was gonna use the buggy guy, but maybe we'll use, actually, will buggy guy fit? No. So we're gonna use the bird. I haven't made anything with the bird yet. Stamp a bird. Oh, look at, he is so cool. And yes, I do think it's a boy. I don't know why. I think the buggy is a boy. I think the bird is a boy. We're gonna do a little watercolor with this Distress ink. I pulled out some reinkers. I've got Lost Shadow, Picked Raspberry, Kish Flamingo, Mowed Lawn, and Mermaid Lagoon to pull a couple other colors in. So we're gonna just put a drop of each on this large acrylic block and just paint away. So I'll just put a drop of each color right on this block. This is a Fancy Pants acrylic block. I've had it for 100 years. Giant 6x6 block. They used to sell 6x6 stamp sets way back when. And I still have the block. I don't have any of the stamps. Well, I take that back. I have a few background stamps that I kept that are big swirly artsy-fartsy things, but that's it. They were these giant 12 by 12 clear stamp sets when clear stamps first started becoming a craze. And they had all kind of images. When I did a big purge before we moved to Florida, I sold them off. And there's a few I wish I had kept, but you know, that's what happens. Okay. So let's add a little water to our Lost Shadow. Let's test it. Oh yeah. A little more. So let's go in to our chicken. Now I'm only going to paint one, and then that's it. Then I'll come back with the rest of them done. Let's make his beak gray. And then our birdie, his little suit jacket could be gray. And then our little girl, I don't think I want any gray on her. Next, Picked Raspberry. Hello, bright pink. There we go. Yeah. So on our chicken, let's give him some bright pink. Here, there, and everywhere. Picked Raspberry is my favorite. I'll do these little circles in his tail and in his, yeah, all of his tail. He's got a pretty big tail. That's fabulous. This here, here, here. He's got a pretty fantastic tail. You know, we had a barred rock rooster once. Man, fabulous tail. He was a handsome fella. His name was Franny, because we thought he was a girl. Then when we realized he was a dude, we named him Fabio, because he was so good looking. Fabio, the fabulous rooster. And then on our birdie, where do we want pink on him? Maybe on this front, and the stripes. Stripes on the front. And then how about some stripes back here? I'm not too worried about it if I get out of the lines a little bit, because I am going to cut these out, so it doesn't matter a whole lot. And then our girl, let's make her shirt picked raspberry. There we go. And now let's move on to the flamingo. Kish flamingo. There we go. Got our nice neon pink hair. Let's do his comb. This is a Gish flamingo. That's a little cheeky. And this little spot here. And we'll do these other kind of half circles over this way. And then on our bird, let's do this feathery bit. Gish flamingo. And then our girl. Does she need some Gish flamingo? Up here at the top of her shirt. And how about her cheek area here? And we'll do some of her stripes in her tights. Now we're going to move on to Mermaid Lagoon. Oh, I love this color. And then we'll do this feathery bit back here and on his face. Now some of this, the white spots, I'm going to go back in with a white gel pen and add some white in. Back in. I got some Mermaid Lagoon over my pink circle there. Darn it. That's okay though. It's mixed media. You can do whatever you want, right? And then we'll add some in his checks here. Mermaid Lagoon chicks. Some Mermaid Lagoon in his tail. And some Mermaid Lagoon up here in his tail. This fabulous tail. And then in this kiddo over here, he's doing his checks. Give him a Mermaid Lagoon checkered jacket. There we go, Mermaid Lagoon jacket. And then our little girl, let's give her some in her skirt. I think I'm going to stripe it with the Mood Lawn. The cuffs of her sweater. And her neck. All right, do we want any more? I think that's good. Let's move on to Mowed Lawn. Oh, I love Mowed Lawn. Now we'll add some Mowed Lawn into our fabulous rooster. Now you could do this with whatever you have, you know, you could use your zig brush markers, your actual watercolor, whatever re-inkers you have that you like. But I did it this way so that my colors kind of matched the background. You know, I've got the same pinks, and here is what I have in the background. So that's why I did it that way. I'll do a little Mowed Lawn over here. I do think I'm gonna pull a yellow in though. I'm gonna get the probably mustard seed out. All right, now Mowed Lawn over here. Actually, I don't need to paint that because I'm not gonna cut it off. Or I'm not gonna, yeah, I'm not gonna cut it out. That's the word, out, not off. I'm going to mix a little Mowed Lawn and a little Mermaid Lagoon. Get some teal for space here. There we go. actually. Let's mix a little more of that. His hair back here. Kind of looks like dreadlocks. And we'll give her a teal hair. Believe it or not, I do not have regular distress reinker in mustard seed, so I pulled out carved pumpkin. I think that'll work just fine. Not quite the same, but it'll pass. It'll work. I really wanted. I love mustard seed. It's probably my favorite yellow in the distress, but that's okay. We'll use a little orange instead. Actually, I don't know why I'm doing the chicken's feet, because I'm probably not going to cut them out either, but we'll see. Add a little bit of this in so it makes sense to have it. And then, let's see, a couple spots there. I don't have any color. And then we'll do it on the bird over here. And then our little girl and her stripes, which I wanted to be mustard seed, but they're not. Stripes, 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 stripes. All the stripes. Okay, so I'm going to paint the rest of these very similarly and let them dry, and then I'll be back. Alrighty, so I've got one of each image cut out. Look how cute they turned out, right? I used some white gel pen and gold gel pen to add some highlights to go around the eyes, and then I cut my paper. This piece was a little too small, so I cut some Vicky Bouton pattern paper to back it with, which I think turned out really well. So let's put these together. I'm going to do these three, and then I'll come back at the end with all of them put together and show you the stack. All right, so let's pick one. Now the chicken, I cut his legs off because I wasn't sure how I was going to position him. But I'm going to start with the chicken. So we've got Misty, our card, and our chicken. Okay, take the mouse pad out because this is a rubber stamp. Figure out how we want him positioned. Probably about like that. All right, now we'll pick it up. And we'll ink using Archival ink again. I'm doing this so I can get his legs and like all the little hairs and itty bitty sticky outy things that I didn't want to try and cut out. All right, and see, I got his feet. I got all those little hairs and things, and that's exactly what I needed. I'm gonna add a little color to those legs. And I think we'll do the teal that I made, aqua that I made for his legs. And then straight up blue for his feet. some blue around the floof. I'm going to dry that. And see what happens. And I get all of that stuff back that I didn't feel like cutting out. We're going to glue it on with Bear Glue. Hold it down for a sec. So we'll let this dry and then trim around it. All right, so next, let's use our bird. This bird, I love him. Let's see, which way do I want this to go? Ooh, maybe I want him to go that way. I think I do. So let's get the bird. There, pick it up, stamp it again. We're going to add him right on with Bear Glue. You just line it up. As well as you can. Depends on how well you trimmed it. That's pretty good. Now my little girl, I don't need to stamp her again. She cut pretty well. So we're just going to glue her down. I'm going to trim my chicken's feathers off here. Which, I mean, it's an ATC. I could leave it hang, but it's going to get beat up when I carry him around for the expo. So we're just going to trim it. Same thing with our Annnddddd bird here. All right, now I want to splatter these with some gold watercolor. I'm going to cover them slightly. Try and keep my main images a little clean. Got my trusty Daniel Smith watercolor. Put some water in there. Little fan brush. Get her mixed up. I'm going to get these dry and then I'm going to splatter them with some white gloss spray. We're just going to do it right off the straw. Okay, now we've got white and gold splatters all over these two cards. I'm gonna set this aside to dry. I don't like to heat the gloss sprays with the heat gun. It changes the way they look. So we're gonna set these aside and work on our girl. Get her out of confinement. I'm gonna put tape over her. Splatter her with some gold. Get the fan brush back out. Dry her off. Go in and do the same with the white. Right off of the straw. All right, I'll let all of these dry and then I'll be back. All right, so I got all my flowers on my cards. Now the chicken ones, I did not add flowers to because I didn't think he needed them. But I used this Tim Holtz Thinlet set. It is 666284. I watercolored some cardstock and then I cut them out and assembled them. And they're all a little different. Some have a lot of flowers, some only have a few. And then I had some left over. So these are the parts I have left over, and I'm just going to put them in a baggie and put them in with the die set. Now for the words, I always like to have words on my ATCs. This one says, sometimes I get so weird I even freak myself out. And this one says, share your sparkle wherever you are. Now I've got 2 of the Waffle Flowers stacked banners dies and some watercolor cardstock that I watercolored with the Lost Shadow reinker. And I'm just going to cut these out and then we'll stamp the sentiments on and glue them right on these little cards. Alrighty, here's our banners. We're going to stamp with Archival ink. This is Black Soot. Let's start with share your sparkle wherever you are. These are going to be a tight fit, but they're going to fit. So we're going to stamp our words onto these banners, and then I'm going to ink the edges also. Share your sparkle wherever you are. Now we're going to move on to sometimes I get so weird I even freak myself out. I think that's funny. So I start putting these words on. I'm not sure how I'm going to position them. Maybe I'll just put this one right across the top. Little bear glue, of course. Oh, yeah, there we go. Little sideways action there. I think I'm going to pull out the old tiny attacher. Oh yeah, I like that. All of our words are on. These are turning out so cute. The last thing I want to do is sequin them up. So let's get our tool, which I need to buy a new tip for. Keep forgetting, but it needs one. We're going to add a few sequins on each of these. Let's see. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll do 7. 7 sounds like a good number. And just random, I'm going to use all the colors. These are bright and cheery. So there we go, look at that. I'm going to do this on each one. I'll see you in a few. Alrighty, all my cards are done. So we've got some birds, a girl, and some chickens. These are all Viva Las Vegas Stamps. And then the Tim Holtz newest stencil. Gold watercolor paint. and distress reinkers to watercolor with. These turned out really cute. They took a while because a lot of drying in between, but so these are going to go to the Scrap and Stamp Expo at the end of the week. Y'all have a lovely day, and remember, be excellent to each other and go make something. Bye-bye.